Hi, and welcome to British Dad Reacts, and thank you for watching. On the 4th of July, 1806, a ship set sail from Cork in Ireland, heading to New York. Or so the story goes.
On the 4th of July, 1806, we set sail from the street cove of Cork. We were sailing away with the cargo of bricks for the Grand City Hall in New York. But a wonderful craft, she was rigged fore and aft, and know how the wild wind over. She stood several blasts, she had 27 masts, and they called her the Irish Rover.
This is probably one of the most well-known Irish folk songs by a combination of two of probably the most well-known Irish bands. The more traditional, the Dubliners, and you can see Ronnie Drew here from the Dubliners singing. And then you'll also see Shane McGowan of The Pogues singing. And they did this jointly in 1987. And it's just a famous Irish song, I guess. And I suppose having an Irish mother, well, these things are important.
Sailing away with the cargo of bricks for the Grand City Hall in New York. But a wonderful craft, she was rigged fore and aft, and know how the wild wind over. She stood several blasts, she had 27 masts, and they called her the Irish Rover.
We had 1 million bags of the best layer rice, we had 2 million barrels of corn. We had 3 million barrels of our nanny goat's tails, we had 4 million barrels of stone. We had 5 million dogs, 6 million herds, 7 million barrels of ports. We had 8 million hides of our blind horses' hides, and all of the Irish Rover.
There was our Mickey Cute, who played hard on his flute when the ladies lined up for a set. He would tootle with skill for his sparkling quadrille, till the dancers were fluted and bent. With his smart, witty talk, he was cock on the walk, and he rolled the day under and over. They all knew at a glance when he took up his stance, and he sailed in the Irish Rover.
It's funny how many kind of memories of childhood parties songs like this bring back, and relatives and friends and various people would turn up and instruments would appear from nowhere, it seemed, and many songs would be sung. So, this is an old Irish song, the Irish Rover, of in reality, kind of unknown origin. Now, there is a manuscript of the song, because a lot of bands change the lyrics and the verses. So there's a manuscript, I think, from 1937 that's in the Irish Folklore Museum in Dublin. Now, there's another source, a gentleman by the name of Oliver Abbott, who claimed to have learnt the song, I think, in the late 1880s. And he worked in Irish communities in Canada, on the farms. And the stories from the USA as well. I think whatever the true origin, it's clearly a story of the travelling of an Irish immigrant community over to North America, shall we say. And it's kind of one of those great songs that I guess anyone with some kind of Irish history will have heard at some point.
suddenly there was Hogan from County Tyrone. There was Johnny McGurk, who was scared stuff of work, and a man from Westmead come along. There was Slugger O'Toole, who was drunk as a road, and fighting that shicey from Dover. I am man like McCann from the banks of the Bann, the skipper and the Irish Rover.
For a sailor it's always a bother in life, it's so lonesome by night and by day. Then he longs for the shore and a pretty young whore who will melt all his troubles away. All the noise and the rout, swilling, punching and stout, for him soon is done and over. Of the love of a maid, he is never afraid, and a song from the Irish Rover. We have sailed 7 years
when the measles broke out, and his ship lost its way in the fog. And the world of a crew was reduced down to two, with the skipper and the captain's on board. Then a ship struck a rock, oh Lord, what a shock. And turned right over.
Turned 9 times around, and the poor old dog was drowned.
Last of the Irish Rover.
I love the bit at the end, how the ship turns around 9 times and the poor dog was lost. We'll come back to that in a minute. The Dubliners, obviously one of the best known Irish folk bands with a string of hits. And a number of members of the band sang. In this particular instance, it was Ronnie Drew. Quite a distinctive voice in many ways. And they actually started in the early 60s as the Ronnie Drew Ballad band, I think, and then changed their name to the Dubliners. And they really were kind of, in many ways, pioneers of Irish folk music that brought Irish music beyond the shores of Ireland. Now the Pogues, whom I saw, I think, live in, it was 1985, long time ago, strangely, at the Cambridge Folk Festival. They appeared twice. Remember it very, very well, particularly the tray on the head. Anyway, they were fronted by Shane MacGowan, who you see there. Obviously, he's probably the most famous member of the band. He was born in Kent, in London. In England, southeast of England, not far from London. To Irish parents, obviously, he spent some time in Tipperary. And they fused traditional Irish music with a kind of punk music, which he'd grown up with actually a lot in England. And this kind of, really as they grew in fame, they kind of reinvigorated Irish music, I guess. And obviously have got some famous tracks, as many people will know. Fairy Tale of New York being the kind of standout, I guess. The name, the Pogues, was... it was originally Pogue Mahone, which was an anglicisation of an Irish phrase, Pogue Mathone, which I think came from, it was a quote by Buck Milligan in Ulysses by James Joyce, one of the great novels of the 20th century. Now, the song obviously is this imaginary ship carrying unimaginable cargo, and as I said, the lyrics do change. In this version you heard, it had 27 masts. They carried 7 million barrels of porter, the drink. And in the end, the measles break out. There's the one man and the dog left, and then the ship crashes, spins, turns around 9 times, as it said, and the dog dies. and there's only the one person to tell the continually exaggerating story, I guess. Now, of course, sadly, as people will know, Ronnie Drew and Shane McGowan are no longer with us. But I think it's great that there was such a collaboration between these two famous Irish bands with a great, great song. So, the Dubliners and the Pogues, the Irish Rover. Thank you so much for watching.